You witness don't be discouraged, you'll realize it's hard to keep courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all. The darkness around you makes you feel so small. But I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like the Show me your splendid. Don't be unhappy, can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can, just call me, because you know I'll be there. And I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful. I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like a
Welcome to the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, the country's first Polytechnic U. PUP is a state-run university governed by the Republic Act 8292, known as the Higher Education Modernization Act of 1997, and its implementing rules and regulations contained in the Commission on Higher Education Memorandum Circular No. 4, Series of 1997. It is home to more than 70,000 students, making it the largest state university in the Philippines in terms of student population. It is the university's commitment to give qualified and talented students access to quality and responsive education to aid them in the achievement of their dreams and the improvement of their lives. True to its commitment of making education accessible to all, the university has strategically established campuses and branches all over Luzon. PUP boasts of its roster of 1,483 full-time and part-time faculty members and 707 administrative employees. The faculty members and employees perform the collective goal of training, servicing, and supporting the university's stakeholders. From its humble beginnings in 1904, PUP was originally established as the Manila Business School primarily for the training of personnel for government service and to provide skills needed for private employment. 4 years later, the Manila Business School was renamed Philippine School of Commerce or PSC and merged with the Philippine Normal School from 1933 to 1946. Through the virtue of Republic Act 778, PSC was renamed to Philippine College of Commerce or PCC in 1952. In April 1, 1978, PCC was converted into a chartered state university now known as the Polytechnic University of the Philippines by virtue of Presidential Decree No. 1341. PUP truly has come a long way from a business school to a premier polytechnic university, the very first in the country. Every year, around 50,000 graduating high school students, mostly from economically challenged families, take the Polytechnic University of the Philippines College Entrance Test or PUPSET and hope to become one of the 10,000 who will be given a chance to be new PUPians. At present, the university offers more than 80 programs in the graduate and undergraduate levels with its strategic direction of making the colleges vertically articulated. Graduate School, College of Accountancy and Finance, College of Arts and Letters, College of Architecture and Fine Arts, College of Business Administration, College of Communication, College of Computer and Information Sciences, College of Education, College of Engineering, College of Law, College of Political Science and Public Administration, College of Social Sciences and Development, College of Science, College of Tourism, Hospitality and Transportation Management, College of Human Kinetics, Institute of Technology. BUP further strengthens its open university system through expanded tertiary education equivalency and accreditation program and the non-traditional system program. It caters to borderless educational system that aims to reach many learners as possible. For more than a century of existence, countless outstanding achievements have raised BUP to the level of a national comprehensive university. With a vision to transform the university into an epistemic community, BUP subscribes to the idea that a university should have an extensive research and extension development culture. Each year, BUP surpasses national passing rate in licensure examinations and ranks among the top in different academic disciplines.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Polytechnic University of the Philippines Professorial Chairholder Lecture Series 2021. I am your host. I'm Orlan Delfino Tobola. To start, let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord through the doxology, to be followed by the Philippine National Anthem.
God in my head and in my understanding. God in my heart and in my looking. God in my mouth and in my speaking. Oh, God in my heart and in my thinking. God be at my head and my
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Again, good morning and welcome to Polytechnic University of the Philippines Professorial Chairholder Lecture Series 2021. To formally open the event, let me call on the hardworking Executive Vice President of the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Professor Alberto C. Gilio, to give the opening remarks. Sir,
Good morning. Good morning to everyone.
good morning, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I welcome all of you to the third day of the PUP Professorial Chairholder Lecture Series of 2021. We all know that the PUP's Professorial Chair is awarded to a person in recognition of his or her academic excellence and meritorious service in the field of research, and who has sustained a dynamic scholarly involvement in teaching, research, and in community service in accordance with the vision and mission of our Sintang Paaralan. In these recent months and years, we have witnessed and experienced a very challenging and to a certain extent perilous time posed by the pandemic called the COVID-19. Our lives have been changed drastically. Nevertheless, this global condition should not deter us from finding solutions to these worldwide issues and problems that humanity face at present and will face in the future. There are always benefits from engaging ourselves in thoughtful, intelligent, and scientific discussions of issues that matter to our life and our way of living, especially when the products of these discussions are put into concrete programs and actions to alleviate our living conditions and of other creatures on earth. Thus, the PUP pursues this Professorial Chairholder Lecture Series 2021 in the midst of coronavirus pandemic. In the past 2 days of this lecture series, you have heard interesting topics from very reliable and respectable experts in their respective fields. On day one, you have heard Dr. Francis Aldrin Uy, who's an expert in civil, environmental, and geological engineering. Dr. Renato Solidum Jr., who is an expert in volcanology and seismology. Dr. Renato O. Arazo, who is an environmental engineer. On day two, you heard another three experts, Dr. Napolio Juanillo Jr., who is an expert in research, innovation, and scholarship. Dr. Rolando Orense, who is a geotechnical engineer, and Dr. Pablo Corillo, whose works are in the area of innovation and technology application of bamboo as a structural material. Today, the third day of the lecture series, we will be hearing from the lone lady speaker in this lecture series, Dr. Maria Catalina E. Cabral, who is currently the Undersecretary for Planning, Public-Private Partnership and Information Management Service of the Department of Public Works and Highways. She is considered as a strong example of women in infrastructure. I will not speak more about her as she will be formally introduced later. So let me end this opening remarks by saying that in this lecture series, after hearing the six fine gentlemen scientists, an accomplished woman will have the final say. I do hope that you will listen and actively engage with our speaker, Dr. Cabral. I would like to thank and congratulate the organizers of this event, the Office of the Vice President for Academic Affairs, and the Office of the Vice President for Research, Extension, Planning, and Development, particularly the College of Engineering and the Institute of Technology, for being able to form this formidable lineup of speakers. God bless us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, VP Gilio. Before I introduce our esteemed speaker, let us first be reminded by our virtual conference guidelines. First, please mute your audio by clicking the button found at the bottom of your screen. For the duration of each session, participants are encouraged to turn on their video and ask questions. Use the chat box to address your questions or concerns. Please use raise hand feature to raise questions and or clarifications during the open forum. During the program, please use the speaker view and keep your video on. In the case you get disconnected, simply click the provided webinar link again. Questions and clarifications will be entertained after the presentation. You may use the chat box for the facilitators to note them. State your name and institution and ask questions concisely. Comments that will benefit others are most welcome. And provide feedback. Help us improve our online events to better understand your needs and preferences. For our registered participants who are on Facebook, make sure that you have answered the survey feedback to ensure that you will receive an e-certificate. Whenever disconnected in the Zoom meeting, please log in again using the link, or you may join us at facebook.com/PUP Alumni Official. Now, it is an honor for me to introduce our esteemed lecturer for today. If there is a model for a woman infrastructure in an organization dominated by male officials and employee, it is Undersecretary Maria Catalina E. Cabral, who made history when she became the first female rank-and-file employee who reached the level of undersecretary in the hierarchy of officials in the engineering and construction arm of the government. A licensed civil engineer, Undersecretary Cabral has 3 master's degrees and 2 doctorate degrees in the field of business management, economics, and public administration. She also enrolled a short course of business analytics at Wharton University. And at present, she is taking another doctorate degree on urban and regional planning at the University of the Philippines. She is a registered ASEAN and APEC engineer and has been conferred as an honorary fellow by the ASEAN Federation of Engineering Organization. She is the 2017 to 2018 national president and first female highest leader of the Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers, again exemplifying the role of women in infrastructure. And recently, she was elected as national president of the Road Engineering Association of the Philippines for 2019 up to 2021. She also commissioned in the Reserve Force, Armed Forces of the Philippines, with the rank of Lieutenant Colonel in the Philippine Army. In 2018, she was conferred the rank of Career Executive Service Officer 1 by the Career Executive Service Board. She was also nominated as 2018 Search for Outstanding Public Officials and Employees for Presidential Lingkod Bayan category. She received the Most Outstanding Alumni Awardee by the University of the East in 2018. Received the 2020 Excellence Award from the Philippine Federation of Professional Associations. And recently, 2021 PEZA Awardee Galing Pinas Ecozone Investment Partnership Award. With more than 37 years of experience in public service, Undersecretary Cabral's professional and personal feat as a public servant, an engineer, and a woman serves as an inspiration not only to DPWH, but also to other public servants. Ladies and gentlemen, our professorial lecturer for today, DPWH Undersecretary for Information Management, Planning, and PPP Services, Dr. Maria Catalina E. Cabral.
Thank you.
Ma'am?
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning to everyone. I hope I'm
Good
coming in
morning.
clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good, good. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat, and I'd like to also greet the President of the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Dr. Manuel Muhi, the Vice President for Research Extension, Planning and Development, Dr. Ana Ruby Gapasin, the Dean of the Dean of the College of Engineering, Dr. Remedios Ado. Of course, it is my honor, personal honor, to be giving this professorial chairholder lecture for the students and teachers of this prestigious state university that has stood the test of time. I think you have been existing for nearly 100 years or more. And similarly to DPWH, we have also been in existence for about 123 years. So that's just very long time to be able to, build, not just for today, but also, of course, for the future's generation. And to tell you honestly, when I was invited to be part of your professorial lecture series, and got the invitation to give the lecture, I was so excited. I saw the invitation to be held between 9 to 12 noon. So I thought it was going to be a 3-hour lecture. So I was so excited because I used to teach many years ago at the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila, also at the College of Engineering, as well as in other universities. So, but then I stopped teaching. Of course, the work has demanded a lot of time from me. And therefore, going back to being a lecturer in a university with engineering students really gave me the excitement. No? So I'm worried that the 1 hour, 1 hour time given to me would not be enough to, at least share with you what's happening in the real world. No? The digital world, the engineering world, because as you all know, we've been trying to evolve, especially as mentioned earlier, we are now in the midst of crisis due to the pandemic crisis. And of course, our country is also in the cutting edge of infrastructure. No? We have launched back in 2016 the Build program, and now a lot of these programs and projects are significantly ongoing, and many of them will be finished in time for next year's new administration. So I prepared very carefully the presentation that I will give you this morning, which I will deal with the new digital normal of infrastructure planning. And I considered, of course, the audience being students who will soon be leaders of the country, especially in their own respective fields. So I made sure my lecture will be a little different from the technical lectures I'm sure that you have heard for the last 2 days, no? Especially from esteemed co-workers in the government as well as in the private sector who have probably discussed with you all the technical details, no? All the technical components of the engineering. So let me show you now today a different perspective. You know, in the words of Aladdin, a whole new world, you know, shining, shimmering, and splendid, I hope. With the hope, of course, that I will be able to open your eyes, the future leaders of the country, that there is a fast, very fast actually, world evolving right now, and that you should be aware of the developments around you because our competitor is not just locally or domestically, but we are competing globally. Technology has made the world smaller. Therefore, we have to make ourselves relevant and excellent, not only in the country, but also in the real world. So without further ado, let me start my presentation. Actually, I've divided my presentation into 3 parts. First, I will discuss the new and bigger roles of engineers, particularly civil engineers, no, in the fast-growing economy of the country. Prior to pandemic, we have seen big growth, especially with our economy due to the infrastructure spending of the government. But we need to sustain it. Otherwise, we will run the risk of imploding our economy due to the inflation that what we are experiencing right now, a reduction in our gross domestic product due to the high prices brought about, of course, by the global economic impact of COVID-19. I will also discuss the Philippines' geographical gifts and risk. They both provide opportunities to grow our economy and challenge us to protect our property, lives, and livelihood. Which brings me to an important reminder for all of us to build a future that will, require multidisciplinary skills. So being an engineer, you don't only have to have that skill of technical know-how, but also other skills. So on the second part, I will discuss the new digital normal. This will be a combination of the new normal, the new requirements brought about by COVID, what are the evolving digital technologies in engineering and construction, and the need for digital collaboration. And lastly, I will discuss my organization, the Department of Public Works and Highways, where 80% of our personnel are actually civil engineers. So our mandates, what we have accomplished, especially under the administration of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, and what the economic impact on recovery and development. So as we move towards, a full digital environment post-COVID, I'd also like to briefly show you what we have for a roadmap. Because as I say, this COVID pandemic has turned around a lot of, a lot of factors, not only in the Philippines but all over the country. A lot of our work has become moot in academic, and a lot of our work can now be done through technology. So, as a former national president of the Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers for 2 years, I've seen many dimensions of civil engineers, particularly Filipino engineers. And believe me when I say that there are new and bigger roles of engineers, not just Filipino engineers, but all civil engineers, all engineers globally, not just in the Philippines, but in the whole world. To begin, there is no other situation more perfect than an economic recession or slowdown. Believe it or not, just like the one we are experiencing now. To demonstrate the magnitude of importance of the construction industry and the engineers that enable them, we have to appreciate where we are right now. Infrastructure and construction have the greatest impact among all other sectors of the economy because it is only the sector that has the quadruple effects on our economy. At this point, you should all be familiar with the phrase economic stimulus. When an economy is muted or anemic, it needs very important push so that it would not slide into worse conditions. A lot of people with no jobs, business losses, a lot of business closed down, even construction companies and consulting industries slowed down, leading to what we call depression. In fact, it already happened back in 1930s. History will show that, pump priming the economy is very important during the time of recession to save the economy. So what is important is spending a lot on infrastructure. Why? Because it provides a short-term impact of job generation, directly employing a lot of workers, rescuing a lot of unemployment, and accelerating the circulation of income. In the medium term, it catalyzes the circulation of money. So you have jobs, then you have money. So the economy will move. It will trigger the growth of other industries. For example, if you have construction, then manufacturing will be triggered. Transport and logistics will be triggered. So there is backward and forward linkages. Cement, steel, tourism, real estate, transport, logistics are moving. And this will encourage startup and expansion investment. If you have businesses, then it will attract more business. In the long term, construction projects increase in growth, and it implies improving and expanding the capacity of all sectors of the economy, preventing any disruptive impact, particularly calamities. As I say, you future civil engineers, you have a lot of work to do. Lastly, this short or long-term implication on growth and economic development of the government will be redistributed across the country, across all Filipinos, spreading the benefits of infrastructure. To illustrate to you in numbers, the construction industry can generate at least 4,000 employees for every 1 billion pesos worth of spending. Because of the many industries attached to it, every spending in construction necessarily translates into direct or indirect job generation. In economics, there's a thing called economic multiplier. So there are many multipliers in construction. But suffice it to say, In general, we use the economic multiplier 2.2. What does it mean? It means that for every peso we spend on infrastructure or a construction project, it has a total impact on the economy by 2.2 times. So it is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, benefit. So, for example, in real estate industry, it has a very low multiplier because you just buy the product, you just buy the property. Whereas in construction, it doubles 2.2 times. The Philippine construction industry roadmap estimates that there are about 130 trillion pesos worth of construction businesses that can be generated within 10 years. And because of these requirements, I believe we are seeing the potential and requirement, of technical people, especially civil engineers, probably, and I think more once the pandemic has ended. In this chart, next slide, you will clearly see what has been driving the economic growth of our country. Construction is on top. This is despite the low productivity and wages in the construction industry. Laborers get only the minimum wage. But construction led our economy on faster momentum of growth, growing at 10% more, 10.3 to be exact, of our average annual growth in the last 5 years before the pandemic. This is because 11 out of 14 quarters of President Duterte's administration prior to COVID, national government has double-digit growth rates in public infrastructure spending. You have probably heard of the Build program, which was launched by President Duterte in 2016 as the golden age of infrastructure. So, at the time, government has poured in a lot of investment in infrastructure across the nation. So, investment environment then was really booming. And this pushed all other sectors in growth, positive growth, never before experienced, starting with accommodation, food, what else? Financial and service, professional and business services, transportation, storage, wholesale, education. Agriculture was lagging at the bottom, mining, quarrying at the bottom. We were leading the pack. We were building better roads, bridges, ports, and airports. And the economy facilitated faster growth because of transportation, trade, real estate development, giving that extra push the rest of the economy. You can see clearly on this screen, on this slide, the impact of government and private sector jointly building our economy, hand in hand, side by side, pushing economic growth together. It seemed 2019, nothing can stop the country from going to higher path of growth. But then 2020, COVID-19 happened. It caught everyone by surprise, not only the Philippines, all over the world, globally. In the middle of the pandemic, together with the rest of the world, our economy entered a recession. Because of the lockdown, consumers, producers, workers cannot move around. Transportation was halted, causing household expenditure reduction. Everybody was holding on to their money. Nobody was spending. Businesses closed down or slowed down. Construction industry slowed down. In fact, even during the ECQ and MECQ, it was only the construction industry that was moving. The largest casualties, of course, tourism, which understandably, together with other services, food, transport went down. No event, no gathering, no weddings, only the construction industry with all its might and size, was moving even the time of ECQ or MECQ. Everyone was heavily affected. Our GTB went down by minus 26%. From positive 6 to 7, it went down. Other related sectors such as real estate, trade, everyone stopped buying. We were just online, doing online, digital. And a lot of unemployment happened. Purchasing power went down, pulling the economy to recession. While the whole economy went down by 26%, I would share with you a secret. This minus 26 could have been worse if government did not exert extra effort in finding ways to continue the construction under the Build program amidst the pandemic last year. On the brighter side, very quietly, the government was doing its best to keep our economy afloat. Government was pouring in not only on the health aspect to address COVID-19 action, but also government infrastructure projects. Private sector stopped because of health protocols, because workers cannot go to the project due to limited or no transportation. And yes, I think you may have also noticed another industry, a sector that was not affected at all, but rather continued its strong growth. This is information and technology, information and communication. Down below, you can see the growth at 5.1%. Together with financial and insurance activities and public administration and defense, these three sectors, together with the infrastructure or construction sector, will lead and provide support for the economic recovery of other businesses of the country as the new economy takes shape. A strong government, a strong information and communication technology, a strong financial sector with a strong leadership of government, infrastructure, together with this three, will describe what your career should look like when you graduate. The Philippines, as you know, we are located in a Pacific Ring of Fire. The bane and boon of our country is our geographic location and the physical properties of our land and islands. Our country is located in the middle of the Pacific Ring of Fire, and being such, we are expected to face, an average of 25 typhoons every year, some stronger than the others, and, experience strong earthquakes. We just had a strong earthquake the other day. I'm sure Dr. Solidumas discussed a lot of, information on earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. So we are facing the reality of catastrophic volcanic eruptions anytime, together with strong typhoons because of our geographic location. These natural problems are compounded by, being on archipelago. The Philippines is on archipelago, making our logistics, transport, even governance very hard, very challenging, especially in responding to calamities. This makes our job as construction stakeholders very challenging as well. And countries all over the world are starting to admire our ingenuity, our resiliency, even our creativity. We had survived our nation against potential destruction caused by nature, not only by our own doing, but also by natural cause. Countries before who have had to advise us, how to plan and execute our infrastructure projects, realize that their geographical circumstances are very different from us. Other countries who form part of the Pacific Ring of Fire understood our situation. Because of this particular location and geographical context of the country, there are numerous reports published internationally ranking the Philippines as one of the riskiest countries in the world as a consequence of extreme weather events. According to the Global Climate Risk Index of 2020, Philippines is one of the 5 countries most affected by climate change. Similarly, the Global Risk Report of 2019 estimates that spending on disaster recovery is almost 9 times higher than prevention. So we have spent a lot, and thus we engineers, we have no choice but to become proactive in contributing to the solution to this problem of climate change. At the same time, our location, our geography, our being archipelago is also a blessing because it comes along with our location. We have boundless opportunities. So, we have our weakness, but we have our potentials and our boundless opportunities. Because this same source of, risk, climate change risk, and geographical attributes also gave us the gifts of tourism destinations. Imagine being located in the Pacific Ring of Fire gave us Mayon Volcano, gave us the Bohol Chocolate Hills, gave us of course, the Taal, the lake, the volcano within a lake, gave us boundless beauties across the country. So with this in mind, let me share with you a 3-minute video. Join me in watching the World Economic Forum assessment, with the world experts in construction.
The world is confronted with many challenges that impact the well-being and happiness of society. Among the most severe are fast urbanization, climate change, and resource scarcity. To address these challenges in infrastructure and urban development industry, the World Economic Forum established the Shaping the Future of Construction project. But what will the future of the industry look like? How best prepare for it? The World Economic Forum, in collaboration with the Boston Consulting Group and together with global infrastructure and urban development leaders, developed 3 scenarios of the infrastructure and urban development industry's future. One is a world in which virtual reality touches all aspects of life and intelligent systems and robots run the construction industry. Another future could be a factory-dominated society in which prefabrication and modularization are used to create cost-efficient building structures. Or a third scenario, the world will face severe climate change and depleted natural resources, which urge the infrastructure and urban development industry to use earth-friendly construction methods and sustainable materials to rebuild nature. Current business models, strategies and capabilities of players in the infrastructure and urban development industry will not be sufficient for any of these future worlds. But there are 6 no-regret moves all infrastructure and urban development companies can take to prepare. 1. They must attract new talent and build up the required skills. Widening the sourcing of talent and improving the industry's image can help. The companies should also provide more modern workplaces and opportunities for learning and development. 2. Infrastructure and urban development companies need to enable change management and adaptiveness. This requires agile working methods and flexible organizations. 3. Furthermore, they need to implement digital models and data usage throughout their processes. 4. They must also adopt innovative technologies at scale. It's important to innovate in new ways and integrate new technologies. 5. Infrastructure and urban development companies need to increase integration and collaboration across the value chain. 6. Companies must also constantly identify the most promising products and market segments while embracing new businesses.
This video was produced before the pandemic, but as early as 2018, they have already underscored the importance of combining technology with engineering to shield economies from calamities and effects of climate change. But now with COVID-19, necessitating physical distancing but requiring a lot of infrastructure stimulus, how can you do this? The answer is digital technology. Thus, the modernization and digitization plans that were being planned by government and private sector for the next 10 years were forced to be implemented in just few months during the pandemic. It is expected that faster evolution and adoption of digital technologies in engineering and construction will dominate our lives in our engineering profession in the next 3 years. A few months into the pandemic, the unwanted blessing of the pandemic were rapidly realized. Digital acceleration, digital transformation in the world's largest ecosystem in the construction happened. For example, here in the country, Megawide shared their story of this unwanted blessing. Before the pandemic, they were frustrated for years about digitalizing their business report system, like project monitoring, payroll, etc. Then, because of the pandemic, they were able to transition to this digitalization efforts of processing their systems in a few months, all because everyone's salary cannot be processed on time if they will not do that. The changing characteristics and emerging disruptions will drive change in the construction industry and transform ways of working. You know, there are many changes already happening in the market. And again, construction is not far behind. Analysts and investors have found significant value in the processing and components of the construction industry that can be improved with technology. You can see here the interconnected constellation of technology that will shape the transformation of construction and engineering. For example, the simple document management on an item has actually the biggest impact because it relates to everything else. Other technology like time monitoring and control, contract management, bidding and procurement, 3D modeling, robotics, building information modeling, supply chain, artificial intelligence and analytics. These are just, among the many aspects that the construction industry can digitalize as we speak. So technology is really evolving very fast. Just for this year, let us take a look at this video about the most recent trends in construction technology. aside from the construction technology and of course the economy itself, there's another sector of the country that is undergoing transformation, no, from pandemic to from pre-pandemic to pandemic, and this is the Philippine e-commerce, which pose huge potentials. Do you know that prior to the pandemic, the Filipinos are the highest users of internet, 10 hours per day, and 4 hours of that are devoted to social media, and the rest watching digital entertainment. But consider this reality. We are the highest users of internet, and we actually have more than 170 million phones, larger than our actual population of 110 million. We have 73 million internet users, but we have a very low, I think in fact the lowest spending on e-commerce. Only 30% have bank accounts, and we have one of the slowest and most expensive internet service in the world. So imagine if we give Filipinos more bank accounts and digital wallets, faster internet, cheaper internet, then what happened? An explosion of e-commerce related businesses, job, and other opportunities. Yes, the pandemic is an unwanted gift, but it has unlocked a lot of potentials in the construction sector, in the e-commerce, because we are all forced to stay at home. We are forced to use our smartphones to do our commerce, both rich and poor. In fact, all of us, even the poor ones, know how to use your mobile phones. The result, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas has been reporting more than 500% increase in the use of digital banking. Everyone was doing online transfer. Everyone was doing online payments. There's a massive shift of spending on digital education and health because of the lockdown and checkpoints. Agribusiness, manufacturing, transport, logistics are now using digital platform. Professionals like us, engineers, architects, we're also forced to serve our clients using internet digital application. And all these developments will require massive shift in spending and acceleration of investment. E-commerce will continue pushing the boundaries. So what's possible in terms of the future of our economy? So again, the Department of Trade and Industry has prepared the roadmap. Everyone at the end of the day is trying to go back, race to the new normal. Other countries have slowly opened their economy. our country is, we have one of the greatest competitive edge because we have a large, young, growing population, and a lot of you guys, coming into the workforce will really help our country go back and be competitive. But with digital technology enabling our labor together with innovations, and of course with the e-commerce space, you can see the importance of the Philippines in the world map. Of course, with the relative size of our population, we hope to dominate in the next couple of decades. A lot of countries have aging population, but we have a very young population, and we are entering the age of the war of talent. And definitely the Philippines is more than equipped for this war. So historically, you can understand the long view of our economy and sustaining economic growth. Huge domestic consumption in the past 70 years was an average 5%. And then COVID-19 happened. That's why I'm asking everyone to take full advantage of these times by improving our skills. I'm very confident that the impact of COVID-19 in the long-term view will just be a minor blip for the country. Of course, with the vaccination program gaining speed in the recent weeks, I'm very hopeful that all of us, together with the private sector, the construction industry will grow faster and eventually, again, bring the whole economy of the country up to positive growth. That's why, a lot of foreign companies, despite the pandemic, are still interested in the opportunities in the construction sector. And this future, we are supporting through the Department of Public Works and Highways. In the middle of the pandemic, when private sector construction has dived to -46, nobody was moving, of course, no? Nobody knows the future last year. But government has to sustain. And at the second quarter of 2020, construction has stayed there at the bottom for the third and fourth quarter at 50.5 and 42.9%. Government tried its best to remain positive at 2.4%. But of course, no public transportation. Distancing health protocols was too much to handle. And we went down as well, the construction industry, by -27.1. We quickly reversed the trend, going to just about -17, pero minus pa din. So for the whole year of 2020, private construction went down to -36%. So yung mga private construction, tumigil sila. Government only fell at -10%. Our economy would have been much worse, had it not been for the frontliners of the public construction projects in 2020. Government was committed to further increase its effort to pump prime the economy with more projects to stimulate short, medium, and long-term growth and increase employment generation. In the first quarter of this year, public construction poured in an actual spending growth of positive 26%, trying its best to bring with it the private construction, who are still on the wait-and-see mode. So we're stayed at the negative territory. The national government is serious, and we are bent on bearing the majority of the responsibility to stimulate employment. This brings me to discuss what are the strategic priorities of DPWH in terms of transport, logistics, to support key industries so that tourism, agri, manufacturing, and transport will also be lifted. We are prioritizing the resiliency of our economy and, of course, alongside with responding to the health crisis brought about by COVID-19. So we have instituted programs that will promote culture through infrastructure development. So for the last part of my presentation, let me briefly discuss with you the Department of Public Works and Highways, what programs we have been planning and implementing to lead the government and the country together with the private sector and bring us back to recovery and sustainability in the new digital form, in the new digital normal. We are responsible for the national roads and bridges, flood control, water resources, and other public works. 98%, almost 98% of our national roads are already paved with asphalt or concrete, while the rest of the local roads, which are under the responsibility of the local government units, remains to be, we have a low paved road ratio at 18%. We have our strategic roadmap, our performance governance system strategy map, where we intend, where we have set 3 major outcomes to contribute to the achieving of the goal of sustainable development, to improve the life of every Filipino, to reduce travel time by increasing road network capacity, building new roads and bridges, improving road quality and safety to meet international standards, provide engineering solution for road safety concerns, and protecting lives and properties from natural disasters by building flood control projects in major river basins across the country and building disaster resilient structures in calamity-prone areas. We have set 3 major outcomes that shall be contributing to achieving the goal of sustainable development. Reduce travel time, improving road quality and safety, the lives and properties of everyone protected from natural disasters, with the branding Concreto 2022. We have various programs like traffic decongestion program. We have the high standard highways and expressways that we are building, bypasses and diversion roads, flyovers, interchanges and underpasses, widening national roads. With an integrated seamless transport system, we are, planning to build inter-island linkage mega bridge program. We not only wanted to build, but also to connect. And with a partnership with the other agencies, we have our Convergence and Rural Road Development Program, where we are building access roads to tourism destinations, industry trade corridors, ports, seaports, railway stations, and airports. And to ensure that we build livable, sustainable, and resilient community, we are prioritizing, building of water resources projects and implementing disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation projects. Under this program, we are also building bike lanes, facilities, and pedestrian infrastructure. We have built, constructed, maintained, widened, graded, and rehabilitated more than 26,000 kilometers of roads across the country. And these are some of our projects that we have completed and finished. Next slide. Also, what we have finished across the country. We also have completed more than 10,000 flood mitigation structures. As we say, a lot of disaster has struck, major damages in almost all the provinces, and we are ensuring that we come up with flood control projects that would mitigate, flooding in those areas. With other agencies like the Department of Trade and Industry, the Department of Transportation, the Department of Tourism, the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Education, and others, we have collaborated and built, infrastructure such as more than 2,192 kilometers of roads across the country were completed under our Tourism Road Infrastructure Program. With the Department of Trade and Industry, we have built 606 kilometers of roads leading to industries and major trade corridors under our Roll It program, or roads leveraging linkages for industry and trade. With the Department of Transportation, we have our Katuparan or Kalsada ng Tungo sa Paliparan, Riles at Daungan, where we have completed more than 400 kilometers of access roads leading to ports, airports, seaports, and railway stations. Together with the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Agrarian Reform, we have completed more than 1,800 kilometers of farm-to-market roads and 90 kilometers of farm-to-mill roads under this program. With the Department of National Defense and the Philippine National Police, we have built, and completed 89 projects across the nation under our TICAS program, or Tatag na Infrastruktura para sa Kapayapaan at Seguridad, where we wanted to enhance the capability and readiness of military police in providing an environment of peace and security conducive for national development. With the Department of Education, we have built more than 144,000 classrooms and 2,000 plus school workshop buildings and other school facilities are built. Integrated and seamless transport system remains to be a priority. And under this, we envision to connect the archipelagic nature of the country by building inter-island linkage mega bridge program. So let me just probably cite to you some. You have the Panay Guimaras Negros, so it's set for 32 kilometers. Then ongoing is the 3.3 kilometers Cebu Mactan Bridge. We have finished the study for the Bataan Cavite 32 kilometer bridge. And the 3.98 kilometer Samal Island Davao City Bridge is also ready to go. Ongoing is the Pangol Bay Bridge in Mindanao. Under the Metro Manila Logistic Improvement Program, we're building new bridges across the Pasig River, Marikina River, and Mungahan Floodway. But BGC Ortigas Center Link Road Bridge will already open. Next month, or late this year, we will also open Binondo Intramuros Bridge, and next month we'll open the Estrella Pantaleon Bridge. That's the one in Makati. And expanding the country's expressways and highways to give way to regional development and eventually decongest highly urbanized areas in the country, like Metro Manila, we will lay the groundwork to build more than 1,200 kilometers of high standard highways and expressways in Luzon, Cebu, and Davao. In Davao, for example, we have the Davao City Bypass, which hosts the longest tunnel, that will the country will see. It's more than 2.2 kilometers tunnel that will be constructed in Davao under the Davao City Bypass Road. And one of our game-changing projects is the Luzon Spine Expressway Network, where we are investing a total amount of 580 plus billion pesos to build a total of 1,100 kilometers of high standard highways and expressways from Luzon, in Luzon, from the north to the south. That once we complete, and once we implement and complete, travel time from Ilocos all the way to Ilocos in the north, all the way to Bicol in the south, will be reduced from 20 hours to just about 9 hours once finished. This is more than the 1,100 kilometers of expressways is even 3 times, at least 3 times more than the current 382 kilometers of expressways in the country. So as you can see, we have a lot of programs, even under the livable, sustainable, and resilient communities, by building, flood control projects. We have 18 major river basins in the country where we want to build the master plans and feasibility studies. We have finished 11 and ongoing right now are 7 to identify projects, especially those in highly vulnerable areas for flooding. If you remember, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, maybe you're so young, when Typhoon Ondoy hit Metro Manila, causing more than 11 billion damages and affecting more than 1 million families. We prepared a master plan after that, where we identified around 11 major flood control projects in Metro Manila and surrounding areas, estimated at the cost of 351 billion pesos at that time. We have already implemented more than 35% of these programs and projects. One example perhaps you might be interested is the one in Bonifacio Global City, where there's a rainwater catchment system underground to store excess rainwater. That's why it doesn't flood in BGC. Right beneath that structure is a big storage or a detention tank. To store gradually store the water during heavy rains and gradually release it. Once the rain stop. So it will go to the drainage with the capacity that can handle the water. So this is, what's in underneath the Burgas Circle in the BGC. And again, I think they're trying to identify another location to build another detention tank like this. Even during the pandemic, we're building a lot of infrastructure like the evacuation centers. We have built more than 200 plus evacuation centers all over. These are being used as quarantine facilities right now and isolation facilities. And we are also retrofitting and strengthening and rehabilitating Guadalupe Bridge. That's the one along EDSA. So that's more than 50 years, already old already. So there's a need to strengthen and retrofit because we don't want to be on Guadalupe Bridge once a big earthquake happens, like the one predicted by a JICA study that possibility of a big earthquake can happen in Metro Manila once the West Valley Fault is triggered. So you can see it's not only the engineering, but also the beauty of structures that we are doing. We are also concerned on the aesthetics of our surroundings. So in fact, Secretary Villar has issued a department order mandating that bridges must not only be functional, but also an iconic, a monument of inspiration for all of us. We build bike with facilities to encourage non-motorized transport for healthier living. And in fast tracking our infrastructure development, we observe health protocols. So at the height of the health crisis, we built, facilities all over, quarantine, isolation, hospitals, dormitories, to support, because we will heal as one. So these are our accomplishments, and as I say, the Public Works and Highways implement more than 50% of the country's infrastructure budget. Nearly more than 700 billion in 2019. Well, we went down due to the pandemic with 500 billion. We hope to recover again in 2022. So for our budget is really equivalent to 30,000 projects a year. So imagine we need more than a lot of engineers to supervise and monitor this, and not only technical people, but we need, jobs. We need skilled workers. Next slide. We actually, from 2016 to 2020, we created more than 6.5 million jobs in the industry. So to make, 30,000 infrastructure projects happen annually, we have to be very, circumspect in planning. So imagine we have to also invest in digital transformation. We have adopted more than 220 softwares. We have estimated with a market value of 2 billion. We took the initiative of leading the digital transformation of the construction sector in the government. So these are the digital highlights of our softwares and DPWs that are available. We are even doing e-bid submission. So bidders can now submit bids online. We accredit contractors through our civil works application, and we monitor our contracts. 30,000 every year. So we have 30,000 now, 25,000 perhaps last year, another 20,000 next year through our project management, to our projects and contract management application. We also use GIS, and we use drone for monitoring. So on a final note, let me show you how we are implementing our digital reforms to support the new economy. And we have to adopt because the existing world is out there. And with the COVID-19, it has overturned everything. So let me summarize briefly our roadmap. So my dear students and everyone watching, can you move the, yeah, everyone watching. Actually, my motive when I accepted this professorial chair is to search for allies in our advocacy, to to move the infrastructure sector to greater heights, and to also promote our advocacy in promoting the digital roadmap and the digital transformation. So, in the context of in the context of our situation, this is our roadmap for us, engineering under the new normal. We have to be multidisciplinary. We have to make use of digital transformation to ensure that engineering construction becomes sustainable. With the technology becoming more available and more cheaper, there is no excuse anymore not to transform digitally. So I hope with the digital collaboration, sustainable engineering construction and engineering and construction will happen even after the pandemic. So I hope I was able to show you young people, future leaders of the country, future engineers of the Philippines, a shining, shimmering, splendid, but opening your eyes, that is not going to be very easy. I hope that I took you for wonder by wonder, but as one of the great scientists said, engineers create the world that has never been. Scientists study the world as it is. So please join us in the government towards creating this whole new world with a view from the young people, so that no one will tell us that we cannot do so. No one will tell us not to go or where to go, or say we are only dreaming. Let's build the future for you and your children and your children's children. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Yusek Cabral, for that very wonderful information and insights towards our towards the construction industry and the plans of the Department of Public Works and Highways and its achievement. So, ma'am, let's start the question and answer pa. Okay, so let's have the first question. So, do you agree that there is a need to standardize the curriculum of educational institutions offering engineering to be geared towards preparing engineers of the future to adapt to digitalization of the construction industry?
Well, certainly. There is a need not only to standardize, but to upgrade, We have to be prepared globally, not just domestically, but globally. As I said, there's very large room for opportunities, and we have to continue to develop and improve our skills, the Filipino engineers has been very active, not just in local construction, but also in other countries as well. In fact, we are losing our engineers. Many Filipino engineers came back during the pandemic because, of course, a lot of the construction projects have also stopped elsewhere. But after the pandemic, not only the Filipino engineers, but also other skills and other, skilled workers are really going back, because of high pay. So it's not just upgrading our skills for better opportunities, for higher pay, but it's also, upgrading our skills to be able to help, the country. As I always appeal for, young engineers to please help first your country before going abroad. While it is very lucrative for you because of high pay, given the opportunity to help first our country go back to the normal after the pandemic. And how to do that? How to do that is to upgrade our skills. And our academy has to craft that module or that program that will better suit our young. By doing this professorial chair series, I think you have come up with a good program, so that it's not all theories, it's not all technical details, but also what happens in the real world. What are the opportunities? What are the demands? What are, as they say, what are available for us, the Filipino engineers? So yes, there is really a need for not only standardizing, but also leveling up, the standards and coming up with series like this to help the future engineers get a better appreciation of what the challenges, the problems, and opportunities are.
Okay, ma'am. Next question is with regards to the Senate Bill number 2122 or the 30-year National Infrastructure Master Plan Act. So, ma'am, what's the stand of the DPWH regarding?
Well, we are part of the team that crafted the roadmap, and therefore we support the roadmap. The roadmap identifies big ticket projects, projects that have have big impacts, long-term impacts. So I've always been asked. I've been with DPWH for more than 30 years. So I've been with several administrations, and when we near the end of an administration, I'm always being asked, Ma'am, titigil po ba yung mga proyekto? Ma'am, anong mangyayari sa project? Baka ho iba, hindi tumigil. Yung project pa naman, importante dun sa aming komunidad. So as I said, that's why there's important need for us to prepare master plans, feasibility studies, technical studies, and this 30-year roadmap is very important because this will identify the high impact projects that we will implement, of course, with funding support, so that we will be able to withstand, even transition from administration to administration.
So, actually, the follow-up question is if you support that, but it already said that you are part, or the DPWH is part of the
Yeah. We are part of the team together with headed by Department of Trade and Industry that crafted the roadmap, and we also identified a lot of long-term impact, high impact projects that are part of the roadmap. I hope that's legislated so we can have already a long list of projects ready, implementable. We can already do the detailed engineering designs for all those projects.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, we are looking forward to that because we believe that one way of having a continuous infrastructure development is to have a long-term master plan.
Exactly. And even for any administration, if you have the roadmap, you have the technical studies, you have the master plans, and you have the feasibility studies, those are evidence-based, data-driven studies, right?
Yes.
So that will support any administration. Infrastructure does not happen overnight, right? It doesn't happen overnight. Even detailed engineering design, you cannot make it in 6 months, say 32-kilometer long span bridge. You need experts.
Yes. I agree with that. And okay, ma'am, let's proceed to the next question. So, what is the prospect that the higher priority given by the government to construction projects and infrastructure development will continue in the next administration, regardless of whoever will be
Ah.
elected in the
O,
coming
di
election?
ba? Yan din ang, sabi ko na sa iyo, every administration, pag matatapos, yan ang tanong sa akin.
Yes.
Ma'am, paano ho ba? Tutuloy po ba? Of course, in every administration, infrastructure remains to be one of the major platforms. It's just that when President Duterte, launched his administration in 2016, he poured a lot of investment in the build, no? Launching his administration as the golden age of infrastructure. And as I say, the most important thing is that we have the technical studies, we have the feasibility studies, and these are ready to go projects, and those ongoing projects will remain priority. Why? Because we have to keep up with our neighbors, In fact, the Philippines is even lagging behind our neighbors, Singapore, Malaysia, even Thailand, even Vietnam. So ayoko naman na ma-overtaken tayo ng Myanmar. Baka naman in infrastructure, in spending, maabutan pa tayo ng Myanmar. Vietnam has already been, very active and competitive now. It's not a good thing that Vietnam has overtaken us in terms of infrastructure investment. But sad to say, some investors have already poured their investment in Vietnam. So we really have to pump prime, with infrastructure spending.
Yes, ma'am. Next question is about the profession, the engineering profession, and actually other professions. There was this proposal of having the licensure exam to be taken away. So what's your take regarding?
Siyempre, of course, no. Alam mo, of course, it's important to retain, no. If you ask my position, to retain the licensure, because formal education in universities is very important, but licensure gives you the permission to practice your profession. Okay, we just probably again have to be circumspect in making sure that our curriculum is updated, is upgraded, and continuously, addressing the needs of the times, especially, in technology, innovation, and innovation. So, in fact, my position has been asked because of course, I used to head the Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers for 2 years. So definitely, I am for retaining licensure not only for engineers but also for other professions.
Yes, ma'am. This was a big issue during the time that it was announced or that this statement was released. So that's why I'm not sure if the other professors have already, but we already heard from you, ma'am, with regards to your stand as a civil engineer also. And next question, ma'am, is there a plan to revise the National Building Code to conform with the plan to digitalize the construction industry?
Yeah, the National Building Code, we have already, there's already a draft bill. Public Works, together with other organizations and department and assisted by World Bank, has come up with a proposed the Philippine Building Code, proposed Philippine Building Code. We have submitted in Congress, and it's now being deliberated. Of course, there are many issues because other professions are also concerned. So there's a lot of deliberations, and again, the National Building Code has been there, more than 50 years. I think 72, 30, yeah, no, nearly 50 years. So it has to be updated, especially with the climate change, and disasters that are happening. We have to upgrade our design standards as well. But there are, in the meantime, the National Building Code revisions are still in deliberation. We have other codes that are attached to it, like, the National Structural Code of the Philippines, that is always being updated. We have the Green Building Code. So these are referral codes attached to the National Building Code. And therefore, I think we still have a lot of way to go insofar as revising the National Building Code. But agencies like Public Works can come up with policies and strategies to address, concerns that are until such time that we have your new Philippine Building Code.
Okay, ma'am. Next is I think this has something to do with the human resource. Is there a program by DPWH prioritizing graduates of state universities in the hiring of engineers?
Alam mo, wala namang program because many years ago we have this cadet program. But now, marami na kaming na-hire in cadet program. Pero wala namang specific program hiring state universities. Pero personally ako, I prefer state college graduates from state universities. It's not really so much as, graduates of state universities, I think have been recognized very hardworking. No? I have a heart for those for graduates from state universities, especially from the province. Nako, talagang masisipag yan. Yan yung pwede mong pag-overtimein nang walang complaint, ang sipag kahit na umuulan, umabagyo, pumapasok.
Yes, ma'am.
Talaga po.
And we're thankful, ma'am, that though there's no prioritizing, but
No. There's really no prioritizing, but sometimes you really have a soft heart, especially for those graduates from state universities. And mind you, a lot of graduates from state universities have landed in the top 10 of licensure examinations.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, may idea kayo, ma'am, kung ilan yung taga-PUP? Ilang percent?
At least dito sa team ko, I handle the planning and public-private partnership and information management. I think, we have a good number of graduates from PUP. PUP, no? So, I think also state universities, not only state, no? PLM, I think, mga government universities, from other state youths in provinces, yan. Yun ang mga, alam mo yung, to be candid about it, siguro it's really a personal, it's not the policy of the DPWH. It's really a personal position na, alam mo pagka-graduate ng state you, alam mo yung hindi lang masipag, alam mo yung gusto talaga, driven talaga siya to succeed. Yun yung gusto kong motivation. When you interview applicants, you always look for motivation kasi you don't look naman for experience kasi mga bagong graduate yan. Diba? But what is really the motivation? Bakit DPWH? Bakit mo gusto sa government? That's what I ask. Why do you want to work in government? Why public works? Don't give me the Miss Universe answer to serve the public. Hindi ko tinatanggap yan. Kasi wala pa kayo sa position that you can actually serve the public. But, ando doon yung motivation na, alam mo yung, pag pinag-aral ka ng gobyerno, gusto mo kasing maibalik din yung serbisyo sa gobyerno. At kahit na maliit ang sweldo, well, comparatively sa private sector, mas malaki ang government sa entry level.
Yes, ma'am. Totoo.
Pero pag umaakyat tayo, bumababa yung sweldo natin compared to our counterpart in the private sector.
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
Yun, it's a personal position. So, don't quote me when, baka public works policy, but ako, I really have a soft heart for graduates of state university.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that, ma'am. Kasi we also, me also is a graduate of this university and working for the public sector.
Diba?
DOTR, ma'am.
See, diba?
Yeah.
Alam mo, we in the government, we are overstressed, underpaid, diba? Underpaid, underappreciated. Yan. Pero bakit tayo nandito? Because we want to contribute. Kahit nobody's already, nobody's minding us, but we know that we have contributed. Diba? We're so happy. And yun ang gusto kong motivation ng mga bata. And if you have opportunity to join first, government, then do so, before, helping other countries build their infra. compared, no? Mababa yung sweldo natin compared to other countries. But hey,
Totoo, ma'am. Ayoko na lang mag-ano, ma'am, pero I mean, totoo, ma'am, talaga na talagang mababa talaga yung
yeah,
sweldo. Pero
over-stressed, over-criticized, underpaid, underappreciated. So, tanong ko, why are you in government?
ma'am, kung ako tatanungin, ako kasi motivated ako with yung hashtag para sa bayan. So,
Yeah, di ba?
yun na lang yung motivation din ng also ng mga engineers in the
Right. So, I'm
government.
happy. I'm happy when I interview state U applicants because I always try to find anong motivation mo. What make you decide to apply for a government position?
Yes, ma'am. Sige, ma'am, medyo nadadala ako ng emotion ng being a graduate of state university working in the government. So, ma'am, proceed tayo with the next question po. Does DOH have a partnership with DPWH regarding construction of government hospital?
Yes, in fact, we are helping them, not only the hospitals, especially yung mga regional, provincial hospitals. We are also helping them, build quarantine facilities, isolation facilities. We are also building evacuation centers in every province. Hopefully, we saturate it for every municipality. And these evacuation centers can also be used, not only evacuations post-calamity kasi ginagamit yung mga eskwelahan para hindi nagamitin yung eskwelahan o classroom pag-evacuation. Kung hindi, ngayon, ginagamit din siyang quarantine facilities. So we are building for not only Department of Health, but Department of Science and Technology, a virology institute that will happen in Clark. The National Virology Institute. Yan. Magkakaroon na daw ng institute, sabi ng DOST. So we will build the structure for them. It will be located in Clark.
Yes, ma'am. I think I'm familiar with that. I think it's in, if I'm not mistaken, New Clark or dun sa Clark mismo.
Sa New Clark.
Sa New Clark.
Sa New Clark.
Kasi ma'am, we also have a project there. At ang dami talaga doon.
Ang dami talaga. Kaya kailangan na maraming inhinyero.
Yes, ma'am. I agree with that. And ma'am, actually we have a lot of questions coming
Sige
from.
lang, okay lang ako.
Actually, next question is, though this is with regards, this one. Can we institutionalize a quantity surveyors unit in every construction contract to control and safeguard project to ensure budget used judiciously?
Oo, naka-specify naman, especially for consulting services, yung quantity engineer. Quantity engineer and for consulting services. So contract, I think it's really up to the owner of the company or the project owner to identify the skills they would specify. But here in the DPW, we have quantity surveyors in our technical bureaus.
Okay, ma'am. Are there any plans or are there any direction for increasing the funding of the infrastructure projects via the PPP scheme?
Yes, of course. Not only, the funding is actually, that's why we go to PPP, because the resources will be poured in by the private sector. It's not the only counterpart of government is the right of way. So we provide them the land, the space for them to work to build their infrastructure. There's really no capital outlay on the part of government. There might be some subsidy, right? As you know, in the OTR, we provide some subsidy to make the project viable financially, because some projects cost huge amount of investment and recovery would take years and years. So to provide them some subsidy, government can allocate some amount, but generally PPP uses private sector funds. So if you ask me, is there direction to increase PPP? Definitely, government is open not only for solicited and unsolicited PPP. In fact, a lot of private sector have submitted, unsolicited proposals to us. Like in the OTR, you have your unsolicited proposal for airports. Us, we have proposals for expressways. We have an unsolicited proposal to extend TPLEX from Rosario right now. We have opened all the way to Ilocos. The first phase will terminate in San Juan, La Union. And then the second phase of the unsolicited proposal will start from San Juan, La Union all the way to Ilocos. And on the south side, we are now reviewing the proposal to extend the South Luzon Expressway all the way to Quezon and all the way to Sorsogon. You just imagine that. All funded by private sector. The government counterpart is just making sure that right-of-way is available for the alignment of these projects.
Actually, ma'am, I'm looking forward to the extension of the T-Plex.
Oo nga.
Para mas madali na mag
Correct.
no, okay
Diba?
na yung I mean, when we're done with the pandemic. And ma'am, any last words before we end this lecture?
Well, again, I'm very happy to be part of your professorial lecture series, sharing with you what's happening in the real world, what are the opportunities, what are the challenges. Because at the end of the day, when you go out of your classroom, of course, the classrooms will give you all the technical details, your skills, your data, your skill set to become great engineers. But at the end of the day, when you go out and face the real world, you'll have to make it out on your own. Wala nang teacher, walang classmates, sariling sikap na. And find your niche. Find your niche in the industry. Some will go to academe, some will go to consultancy, some will go to construction. Find your niche. And at the end of the day, we will all have contributed to the development of the country. And with that, I hope to see you, face to face. But we're still observing strict health protocols. But hopefully, I'll meet some of you or a lot of you in the next years to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yusek Cabral, and we're hoping also to see you, ma'am, face-to-face. Actually, ma'am, we expect sana makita namin kayo on future Cafeyo kasi since you are also already part of the Cafeyo, ma'am. Okay.
Of course.
We see you, ma'am. And we would like to thank you for having also, ma'am, or for accepting our invitation to be the professorial chairholder. And to award the certificate of recognition, may we call on the President of the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Dr. Manuel M. Muhi.
Okay. Thank you, Sir John. Narinig po ba ako?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes,
All right. So before I award the certificate of recognition to Ma'am Cathy Cabral, let me, together with the PUP community, the Sintang Paralan, express our deepest and sincerest thanks to our Prof. Chairholder in Engineering, Honorable DPWH Undersecretary Dr. Cathy Cabral. And the university is very honored and privileged to have you as our Prof. Chairholder in Engineering. Thank you to all the information and ideas and also the inspiration that you shared to all of us, to our students who will become our future leaders, the engineers, the architects, and the technical people in the construction industry. This lecture is very helpful to our faculty and students, not only in PUP, but also from other participating universities and colleges all over the Philippines, and also the Filipino engineers and architects working abroad, particularly our students in construction management based in UAE, and to be more aware on the current trends and situation on the new digital normal of infrastructure planning of our country. So the Polytechnic University of the Philippines is very honored and privileged to award the certificate of recognition to our Honorable Professor
Chairholder, Dr. Maria Catalina E. Cabral, in grateful acknowledgement of her distinguished and invaluable service rendered as guest of honor and speaker in the Science, Engineering, and Technology Professorial Chairholder Lecture Series 2021, the new digital normal of infrastructure planning, given this 22nd day of July at the PUP Main Campus, Santa Mesa, Manila, Philippines. Signed, yours truly, Dr. Manuel Muhi, University President, PUP. Thank you so much, Ma'am Cathy, and stay safe po. God bless po lagi.
Kayo din.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Keep safe as well, everyone.
So thank you very much, Sir Bong and Yusek Cabral. May we request for a photo opportunity with our participants together with our professorial chairholder and officials who are also with us here right now. Okay, technical team ready?
Makita ka na. Hello po. So, pa-open na po ng cam po natin. So, sa unang slide po, okay po. 1, 2, 3. Okay po. Next slide po. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay po. Thank you. Next slide po. 1, 2, 3. Okay po. Next slide. Okay
Hello.
po.
Okay
Yes
na?
po. Last slide po. 1, 2, 3. Okay na po. Salamat po.
Okay, thank you very much, our technical team. And before anything else, so by the way, we would like to thank our participants who attended the this 3-day event. So we would like to announce this upcoming events.
Okay, we would like to invite you to our 14th Araw Annual Research Awards 2021 with the theme Resiliency and Sustainability in Times of Pandemic, the commitment of serving the country through engineering, science, and technology this coming October 27 to 28, 2021.
The first, also, we would like to invite everyone for the first virtual international conference on humanities, education, sciences, management, engineering, and technology 2021 with the theme Accelerating Research for a Resilient and Sustainable Global Community in the Midst of the Pandemic. So we would like to invite our educators and our researchers to submit their paper in the following tracks in humanities and social sciences, education, sciences, management, engineering, and technology. So the event will be on November 25 to 27, 2021, and it will be done via the Zoom meeting. And just a reminder that the abstract submission will be on the 28th of August 2021. So for further details, you may visit the website at the www.hsmet.com, and also the Facebook page of the Graduate School Research and Extension Office and the MRSP NCR chapter. So this is a partnership of the Mechatronics and Robotics Society of the Philippines, Mechatronics and Robotics Society of the Philippines National Capital Region Chapter, and the PUP Graduate School through the Graduate School Research and Extension Office.
We would also like to invite you to the first Doctor of Engineering in Engineering Management Multidisciplinary Webinar, Generation Change, Reimagining Project Management through Digital Transformation. This will happen on August 21, 2021 from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Speakers will be Engineer Guntaliliv and Engineer Versosa.
Okay, so we would like also to invite everyone to enroll in our Masters of Science and Engineering programs. So we have the Master of Science in Electronics Engineering program with specializations in artificial intelligence and automation and telecommunications. We also have the Master of Science in Civil Engineering with specializations in structural engineering, transportation engineering, geotechnical engineering, water resources engineering. We also have the Master of Science in Computer Engineering with specializations in applied cybersecurity and digital forensic, data science and engineering, and the Master of Science in Industrial Engineering with specializations in operations and production management, human factors engineering, and supply chain management. For further inquiries, please, you may scan this QR code or you may visit our website www.pup.edu.ph.
Okay, thank you. To formally close the program, let me call on the Vice President for Research, Extension, Planning and Development of Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Dr. Ana Ruby P. Gapasin. Ma'am?
To our distinguished guest, DPWH Undersecretary Dr. Maria Catalina E. Cabral, University President Dr. Manuel M. Muhi, Vice President for Academic Affairs Dr. Emmanuel C. de Guzman, Dean Lincoln Bautista, Dean Remy Ado, and to all faculty members, students, and guest participants, magandang umaga po. I would like to thank our professorial lecturers for generously accepting our invitation for our Professorial Chairholder Lecture Series. Our gratitude also goes to the College of Science and College of Engineering for helping us organize this significant event. The lecture on day 1, given by Dr. Francis Aldrin Uy, offers a roadmap for disaster risk reduction solutions using various technology systems. Dr. Renato U. Solidum recommends insights in reducing risk by not only anticipating the hazard, but more importantly, reducing the exposure and vulnerability and increasing the capacity to be less affected by these extreme events brought by disasters. Dr. Renato Arazo illuminates his personal experiences and techniques of publishing in ISI and Scopus Index journals, and further emphasizes the significance of publishing someone's research findings. The lecture on day 2, given by Dr. Napoleon K. Juanillo Jr., sheds light on the opportunities and challenges to the diffusion of artificial intelligence in the Philippines. Dr. Rolando Rense walks us through his 31 years of personal journey researching on the progress in soil liquefaction since the 1990 Luzon earthquake, which provides us a better understanding of its impact on the environment. Dr. Pablo A. Hurillo demystifies us on the state-of-the-art bamboo engineering materials and building technology and provides alternative building technologies to provide comfortable, affordable, resilient, eco-friendly houses with social impact. Finally, today's lecture given by DPWH Undersecretary Dr. Maria Catalina E. Cabral offers excellent insight into Filipino engineers' new and more significant roles towards the latest digital technologies in engineering and construction. In addition, the DTI 2022 e-commerce roadmap and the DPWH strategic infrastructure programs and accomplishments presented give us high hopes for improved road quality and safety. Hence, more lives and properties will be protected from natural disasters. This year's Professorial Chairholder Lecture Series on Engineering, Science, and Technology offers us great perspectives on saving lives and improving our society. However, I think we cannot save lives and help improve our community without education. And this is where our scientists, engineers, scholars, and educators come in. Through various platforms such as these professorial chairholder lecturers, we should be able to somehow inculcate the knowledge and the information that ordinary citizens need to know. On the other hand, the role of academia, primarily academic research and development, is vital. Our local scientists and engineers based in our universities are expected to work harder to push the boundaries of knowledge in collaboration with the industries and government towards continuous improvement on the current technologies. In closing, I would like to thank everyone who joined the 3-day interesting professorial lectures. To the students who joined this event, continue to proactively find ways to upskill yourselves and take advantage of online learning materials and use these tools to improve the community for genuine reforms. To the organizers, again, congratulations. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ana Rubiga Pasin, the Vice President for Research Extension and Development. So before anything else, so we would like to share the link. So will be the link for the day 3, the evaluation link for the day 3 of the Professorial Chairholder Lecture Series 2021. So it will be also sent in your on the chat box, so you may access it directly to your respective browsers. Okay, do we have any additional I think we don't have any additional announcements. So this has been the Professorial Chairholder Lecture Series for Engineering, Science and Technology 2021. On behalf of my partner, Engineer Orlan Delfino Tobola, this has been Engineer John De La Cruz. And to formally close the event, let's sing the PUP hymn. On behalf of the organizers and the officials of the university, we would like to thank everyone for participating in this event and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, Sir John.
Thank you po, Sir Bong.
Thank you sa lahat ng organizers.